Well, I'm trying this for another time. Basically, an idiot at the controls. I don't have my glasses, so if somebody does show up, I don't know if I'll be able to read live chat or not, but I'm still trying to figure out how to set up the laptop to show the fish tank as things are at different heights and I'm so bloody short. I'm doing this at this time as the live stream with Griffin's Fish Room just ended, so I'm assuming Americans have gone to bed. So it's only going to be me watching this, and probably no one else. Trying to find a good place for a tethered laptop isn't easy. So far, we're doing great. Nobody's popped up in chat. And it does say, I think one person may be lurking. I don't have a clue. And I'm standing amid a whole bunch of cords. So if I step on something, it could be like last time, where I unplug everything. And I'm not going to try and type anything. It may be a disaster. Oh dear. Hey Zen, don't you ever sleep? At least now, they're not going to think I'm a dude. So Zen, how do you think the sound is? I agree. Sleep is overrated. I usually, in summertime, get 3 to 4 hours at most. Sounds great because I'm just using the laptop speakers. There's no fancy microphones or equipment like other YouTubers have. I don't really consider myself a YouTuber yet. Well, for me, with my pain medication, unlike other people, it keeps me awake rather than makes me drowsy. So I do have a few naps during the afternoon. But I figured most Americans would be asleep at this time, as Griffin Fish Room just went to bed. Mrs. G is just such a hoot. She's hilarious. I'd love to see her stream by herself. X-nay on the dudes. Then, what do you think of what you can see of the fish tank? I've got a SADS lamp sitting on the bottom of the floor. I can turn it off and see what we can get for fish. Just give me a second. Do you think this gives a better view of the fish? Those guppies seem to be always hungry. This is the coal tank, and I had figured I got all of the self-cloning crayfish out of it. And then yesterday, during feeding imitation crab, lo and behold, a 3-inch crayfish comes out of the plants. Okay, I'll turn the other light on and see what you think. Because this is a lot of experimenting for me. I didn't even read the instructions on how to create a stream. I just went for it. I'm talking to Zen, and there could possibly be 3 workers. I wonder if it's any of the Australian gang. Well, whoever you are, hello, dudes. Man, do I look washed out. I like to keep my tank open top. It's easier for maintenance. Whoo! Never heard the name Skin Doodle. Sounds like fun. Hi. Hey, Susan. Now you can see what Fishy Fun's like. She's a girlfriend from about 20 years ago. We share ghosts in common. Actually, I can see chat not too bad without my glasses. Susan, I thought you're scared of fish. My goldfish used to scare you. So what are you doing watching me? You'll have nightmares. It'll keep you up for sure tonight. Susan, you best remove your contacts or you'll be seeing more than ghosts. Hey, if you think I scare you more, you should have seen me in my toque and my oversized glasses from 35 years ago. That's right, Sin. She'll have fish nightmares. Some people just can't handle the deep. But I can see that for this tank, the height of where the laptop is good. And now I just have to figure out in the coming days where I can place the laptop for the other 3 tanks. Hi, Alyssa Marie. Just saw you on Leonard Duke's stream. I think Leonard spouted a lot of wisdom tonight. What he said is very, very true. Who needs drama? Life is too short. And I thank everybody that's showing up. Any feedback would be great. I know you're seeing an extremely big face in your screen, but I have to squint to see any comments. I really didn't expect anyone to be up at this hour. As you can tell, I'm extremely nearsighted. And if I made chat any bigger, there wouldn't be much room for the fish. Therefore, no need for the live stream. But I think this one is going much better than the previous ones. Ghost shrimp are hard to breed, Skimdoodle, as they need salt water for one stage of the development, or should I say brackish. Neo shrimp, or Neocaridina, are the more easy shrimp to start with, as the perimeters aren't as hard to get to or maintain as Caridinia, which are soft water, where Neos can be at 7 pH up to 8. They do like hard water, and that's what I have in another tank, is about 60 Neocaridinias that are Bloody Marys, a variety of blues, some fire reds, and some black rose. Next time I do a stream, I'll feature that tank, but that'll take a bit to figure out where to put the laptop. This time then, the last shipment was from a private breeder in Toronto, Ontario, and he was kind enough to send 8 extra shrimp, and I had only 2 that passed away. And if you remember, they were left on my doorstep for 11 hours in 46 Fahrenheit or 10 Celsius, because I thought they were going to arrive a day later than they did. And I was all in a panic on Punchy's stream. But they're doing great. And I've set a tank aside just for the shrimp, and there's 3 albino guppies, 2 females and a male, in that tank. I know. That's the beautiful thing, Zen, about Neocaridina shrimp. They are very, very tough. Unlike the Caridinia, where you really got to watch your water parameters and your temperature. The Neos, I feel, are a great beginner shrimp because they can withstand a lot. Last year, I had a bunch reproducing in a 5-gallon pail of mulm that I used to water houseplants. It wasn't until I got down to the last 2 inches of water in the bucket that I saw I had a bunch of shrimp. And they were reproducing. No heat, no food, no nothing, no air stone, and they were fine. It's once you have a generation in your water, they get to love it. When you can break your Neos in for over a couple of weeks, you usually do fine. And as Corey from Aquarium Co-op says, regarding guppies, when you get a couple generations in your own water, they have adapted and learned to love the water that you have from your tap. And I'm wondering if this applies to the Neocaridina shrimp as well. So I'm hoping in a couple months to have my tank just crawling with shrimp. In my shrimp tank, there's no heater, and my filter is just barely running. I'm thinking of unplugging it in another week once I've got them settled in well. And with this tank, I haven't had a heater plugged in all winter. Once in a while, since it's beside a window here, if the temperature dips too much below the green line on the thermometer, then I'll plug the heater in for a day. Hi, HC. Thought you guys had gone to bed. And if I can angle the laptop screen low enough, you'll get to see the algae jungle that is my convict tank, as it's a few inches lower. It's so green that you can't even see the fish. So that's the last tank that I need to work on. However, if I showed you a cup of water, you'd see that the water is almost crystal clear. Wow, really early in Hawaii. It's 4:39 a.m. in Alberta, Canada. I've been working on my setup, Skimdoodle, and my algae covered convict tank is the last one that I need to redo. However, they're doing fine. Zen, this window is actually southwest facing, and from now until the end of September, it gets a lot of light. And as you can see with this tank, I've got a lot of jungle val, and there's barely any algae. Where the convict tank, they've uprooted the few jungle val that I have in there for them. And it's so green, you just see the shadows of the fish, unless you're looking at the side of the tank where it's not in the window. Each tank is about half and half in the window. Hi, Lady Kid Nichols. Nice to see you. I barely do any water changes. Most of it is top-ups. And for water changes, my neighbor taught me a nifty trick. Open the window and siphon your tank outside. So that helps a lot. And I use a garden hose attached to my sink faucet for top-ups of the tanks. I've got 4 tanks in my living room. It's, I believe, the green diatom algae that grows on the glass. Although I've had some hair-like tentacles on the jungle val in the convict tank, as there's just not enough jungle val, or plants for that matter, in the convict tank. I'm trying to get a hold of a bunch of pothos or floating plants to extract the nutrients. Failing that, I might set up a garden, at least an herb garden. No, convicts don't eat moss. The problem with cichlids is they're always moving stuff around. I had planted the plants in some Tupperware containers in gravel and filter floss, and I put a big rock on top, and still one of the containers they got into took out all the filter floss, and they're trying to make it into a cave, even though they have wood and cave structures in the tank. They're just little devils. But I'm gonna see if I can find a cup and show you the clarity of the water in that tank with the excess algae. I'm not far away. I'm coming back. Just need a sip as I'm getting dry. I tell you, everyone, one flavor that is the fail is vanilla orange Coca-Cola, whether it's room temperature or chilled. I'm going to try and angle this down so you can see me take a sample of water from this tank. And here is what the water looks like from the tank with all the algae that the fish are just basically shadows swimming past. And again, just in case people don't believe me, how good algae does filter excess nutrients. Here's the water from the tank. I have two tanks that I run a lot of tannins in, and that's for my Moscow guppies and the shrimp. Those two tanks are tea-colored water because of the tannins. Now I'm going to turn this around a bit so I can see what's happening. Alyssa blind, those plecos or janitor fish, they make more mess than they clean up. I had one that he virtually tied himself up by his poop string. I don't feed anything live. They are on omega-1 products. And for my Moscow guppies, so much for that. For my Moscow guppies and the shrimp, I'm using Chris Lucap's signature crayfish blend, which the first ingredients are insects, there's bee pollen, dandelion, a bunch of minerals and vitamins as well. And once or twice a week, I give my tanks imitation crab meat. Yes, I also throw occasionally one or two calcium tablets because guppies tend to get the crooked spine or humpback after too many batches of fry. And because there was crayfish, I took over 130 crayfish out of here because they molt as they grow. I was also using the calcium for that and for the plants. And I've got a Carpo knife in with the convicts, and every night he gets his cubes of black worms or tubiflex worms. I don't believe in feeding any live food, as that can make the fish mean and start fighting with each other or thinking each other is prey. Hey, Sir Pranalot! Great to see you, Prawny. I've got to catch up on a few of your latest videos yet. I see the Aussie gang is filtering in. I think this video has turned out a lot better than my first couple of attempts. Looks like the gang's all here. Or at least most of them. I've been very, very nervous about going live, as I don't know as much about it as most of you guys do. Prawny, the shrimp are doing great. I've got about 60 Neocaridina in my other tank, and when I figure out where I can situate my laptop to show off that tank, that will be my next live stream. And I've got to get about 3 shrimp videos up and posted. I just haven't had the time to choose which ones I want to put up, nor do a little bit of editing. Editing is not my strong suit. I never liked computers when they came out, and for one of my one-year certificates from college, I had to do a computer programming course, and that was back when they had the IBM computers. And then in 1995, taking a stats course at university, I learned Windows 3.1. That course, I mainly learned how to turn the computer on and off. So you can see, technology is not my strong point. An excuse for the squint, my glasses broke. Oh, don't worry, Prawny, about Blake. That was all in fun. First time I've ever been banned, though. The question I have, though, been thinking about, if in a stream a lot of the people in chat all have wrenches, what happens? Because I've been on some music streams, mainly Australian, and everybody's got a wrench. So do we have wrench wars? I'm curious about that aspect. This is very true, Lady Kid, about blue-green algae, but I've got the green diatom, and right now it's actually working for me by filtering the water on my convict tank. As you'll see, a few minutes ago, the water that I pulled up in the tank was clear. Right, that's what I was thinking. That wrenches can't battle wrenches, so you're kind of at a Mexican standoff. I agree. Both Candy and Zen are top notch. I'll never be a Candy or a Zen. That's for certain. I need to go to mod school. Interesting point, Zen. I never thought of that. I just thought it was rather weird to be in streams where everybody had a wrench. And again, from my really green convict tank, this is the water. So you can see the water is quite clear that there's no real problem with water quality. And I've had no problems with the fish. And I make a practice of leaving at least 1 to 2 panels with algae so the fish can graze in case I give them a day's with fasting or when I get fry. And in another video, I don't remember the channel, they were talking about top cleanup crew and shrimp were involved. I know Prani probably knows, as it was just a couple of days ago, they mentioned that guppies are good as well, as guppies are always nibbling. And if you don't overfeed your guppies, they will clean your rocks, your gravel, your wood, even your plants. For a cleanup crew, I like my snails and I like the shrimp, but obviously in a convict tank, shrimp and snails are just a snack. I can't keep snails alive in my convict tank. I just end up with a lot of empty shells. I think it was Blake. I have to admit that I do watch more Australian streams than I do North American lately. I used to overfeed until there was just too much dirt in my gravel, and I hate gravel vacuum. And there's also someone that did a, a video or a stream, I think it was LRB, who was saying that mulch at the bottom of your tank actually helps to eat the bad bacteria and help convert it to nitrates. And LRB is someone I look up to immensely, and eventually I would like to fish keep like him without running any filters, heaters, and usually from about April to late October, my tanks don't have any heaters plugged in, and right now the shrimp tank hasn't got any. And I will have filters on tanks that I can't grow plants in because I haven't got a hold of any pothos to root. I had a little bit, but the darn crayfish ate it. Who thought crayfish would eat pothos? Darn little buggers. Well, then, like I was saying before, last year I actually had shrimp and a few guppy fry growing in a 5-gallon mulch bucket, as I was using the bucket to siphon out, well, gravel back. and I use the water from those buckets for my house plants. And when I got down to the 2-inch mark, there was a bunch of baby shrimp, and the guppy fry I accidentally siphoned had grown to a good juvenile size, and it was just sitting on the floor over wintertime in my bathroom. Yeah, it takes a while to get a cycle going, but watching a lot of these streams, especially Corey at Aquarium Co-op, I've learned to keep a bunch of sponge filters in my tanks, and if I need to set up an emergency tank, I've got a filter already seeded with good bacteria, and I can wring out any of my filter floss to help it along. Derek, hi Derek. Thought you guys all went to bed. That's why I thought I'd try and do a live stream, because you guys all went to bed. So I figured all the Americans were gone. It's safe. But it's but 1 minute before 5 a.m. And as you can see, this is my southwest window. It's the crack of dawn, and Mr. Griffin's roosters should be crowing if they were over here. And I'm going to end this stream. Thanks for everybody that came in and participated and were okay with me splitting to read the chat. And it's great for gardens, that's true, Zen. And last year, my son actually tried to grow weed, except he wasn't good at keeping his plants watered, as it became legal a year ago in Canada to grow it. But if he had kept up using the aquarium water and watered them regularly, he probably would have had a bumper crop. So I might try a herb garden if I can't get any pothos. Griffin's chickens are always crowing, and that's the thing about bantam roosters. They crow no matter what time of day, even in the dark. Because when I was a kid on the farm, we had fancy poultry, pheasants, bantams, regular chickens, and it was the bantam roosters that were always crowing, and the peacocks yelling, "Help!" Have a good day, Lady Kid Nichols. Glad to see you in here. Yeah, HC, I came back from my mom's last May because I had to move her into an extended care, and I came back to a mini grow up in my bathtub. My kid was using the light that we use in wintertime to get more sunlight to keep our moods up. And lo and behold, he had 4 plants about 4 inches tall. So what could I say? I wasn't about to throw away $60. And in Canada, it's legal to have 4 plants. And especially if you have chronic pain, which I do, I'm on a lot of opiate painkillers. And it's one of the reasons that I'm slow putting out some of the videos that I've recorded as they need some editing. And I'm always watching somebody's live stream. HC, we raise silkies. They've got a really soft, non-feather type of, I'm going to call it like fur. And when you pluck them, their skin is a bluish black, and so is the meat. They're highly prized by the Chinese. They're a smaller bird. You don't get as much meat on a silkie as, let's say, you'd get on a broiler or even a barred rock. But they are cute. Another really cute chicken is the Polish crested, as they have a mop on their head and it covers their eyes like this. And Cochins, both regular size and bantams, have feathers all the way down to their toes, and they look like bow-legged cowboys. Those are my favorite chickens. Oh, I didn't know that, HC. Cool. So you know all about the silkie chicken. Those are really expensive to buy in Asian markets. We always had calls for people looking to buy our silkies. And of course, we just raise them to keep as pets. Oh, can't wait to see the mud skipper video. Those things are cute, but I imagine they take a really big tank and are a real messy kind of fish animal. They look like the first animal that emerged from the ocean to me. Yes, Rhode Island Reds are beautiful, and they're a great meat bird. But they've got a beautiful red color, and because they're red, you get your brown eggs. A white chicken, like a leghorn, will always give you a white egg shell. Your red chickens will give you your brown eggs. Don't let anybody try to trick you on that one. My mom's favorite trick to her granddaughters was when a friend was over with cattle on the truck, she'd tell them to go look for eggs, see if the cows had laid any eggs. And of course, at 12 and 13, and city kids, they were going to look for eggs under the cows. Oh, Jesse, I'd love to see photos of those lavender chickens. I haven't seen that breed for a long time. Whoa, you guys. But I've got to say good morning. Got to get at least 3 hours of sleep so I don't miss some of the good streams today.